What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Kaspa today, K-A-S. We are on the Kaspa, or KAS USD chart on crypto, KAS USD, right here, crypto, spot crypto. It's got the most historical data that I could find. You know, maybe it's not the best chart. Let's see, KAS USD. Is it on Bybit? No. Which ones would have more historical data? Maybe it's Uniswap. No, definitely not Uniswap. I don't know. We're going to keep it on the crypto one just for now. And then we'll move it on to the KuCoin chart after that. But just looking at this thing, you know, this is a very bullish chart. One of the most bullish charts in crypto. You know, everything else has been having a bear market, right? Since, like, what, November of 2021, and it really hasn't, things haven't kicked back up. We found our lows in November of last year, right, for Bitcoin, 2022. So that was over here. We found our lows. Kaspa was going up that whole time, and it just continued. It's been going up this whole time. So it didn't really even have a bear market. I don't know when it came into existence. I'm assuming that this is when it did, but for most of its life, you can just see it's up, just straight upside. Up and then down and then up and then down. Higher highs, higher lows, all around. This is looking a bit toppish at the moment. And finding some kind of top here would, in my opinion, indicate that we would go below this low here, which from the current price would be in excess of a 35% drop. We would see something more than that. Likely something that takes us back to these lows over here. Anything from, you know, potentially like a 60% drop to a 76% drop could be happening for Kaspa, just at like first glance of this chart, you know, and that could all happen. You know, if we take this into consideration here, all these like little time frames, from top to bottom, or like to whenever, yeah, like right there, that was 6 weeks, right? From this high, I'm not going to include this one. It looks like just like Wick, whatever, Wick City. That was another 6 weeks right there, when we found our low. From this high here, that was 5 weeks instead of 6 weeks, right? And then from this high here, this one was 8 weeks. Okay, so here we are right now. Each time having significant drops, right? Because this drop here from high to low was, if I can find it, let me get this here. High to low was 72%. This high to low here, we're going to count this low. We're not going to count that low. We're going to count this low. Was 74%, 72 and 74%. And then this high to low was 57%. This high to low was 72%. A lot of 72, 74, you know, so far. I mean, it's only 4 iterations, but right now, guys, we have dropped not that much. We've dropped like a total of 16.5%. A 57% drop, which was the smallest one, would take us somewhere around here, around these previous lows. Also, this kind of little like mini shelf of support right here. We could see prices come down to about 2 cents. That could make sense as well. If we look at these extensions from low to high here, you can see your 1618 is actually right there, man. Literally right there. So we could inevitably see a smaller drop than what we've seen on average. Average, again, being with a very limited amount of iterations. We've had 3 that were greater than 70%, 1 that was less than 60%, okay, and still greater than 50%. So all these iterations are still somewhat dramatic, but the least dramatic one would still take us down somewhere around about 2.33, 2.32 cents, and that would be a 1618 extension from this low to this high here. That is a significant level in my opinion. If we take a line, actually, we were to put a line right there, because that is pretty in line with that 1618 as well. You can see where you found support over here, you found support over here. It has been somewhat significant, and I would think, you know, looking at this too from low to high, wouldn't you know it, man, it's a little bit, it's kind of right in this zone, right, come on, why can't I do this? Right above the 618. It's right there, right above the zone of this 618. And the 618 itself, if we were to go all the way down there, would be a 61% drop, a 65% drop. If we were to do the usual, which is 72 to 74% drop, off of a few iterations, mind you, but a 72% drop would take us close to this 886, and a 74% drop, something like that, would take us around it as well. All of which are possible. So anything between about, I would say, 2.3 cents, about 2.3 cents to potentially 1.4 cents is possible for Kaspa in this downtrend. Now, besides talking just hypotheticals, I want to pull up some other indicators here. Looking at the weekly RSI, you can see you have a peak here, a lower peak here, and a lower peak here. You have a peak here, a higher peak here, and an even higher peak here. This is double bearish divergence on the weekly. To make matters worse, you've rejected, potentially, not quite yet. This is the first week. You have 4 days and 20 hours left. It's 4:20 somewhere. 4 days and 20 hours left in this week. A lot can happen. You're only down 2.5%. It's a very small week. Kaspa can definitely turn around from there. A lot of things are bearish right now, so the fact that a lot of things are bearish today or look like they might be having a little bit of a drawback shouldn't be much of a concern for CAS holders, because it has just gone up while most of the market was going down, or just doing nothing. It's done. So it can definitely go against the trend is what I'm trying to say, but this weekly divergence should be a little frightening. You'd really want to see this week close green, get rid of this bearish divergence, or at least get into the overbought zone so that you can potentially make strides higher. Because at the moment, it does look pretty in line with itself right here coming down, and this could be a very bad bearish setup. On the weekly too, man, it wouldn't take much time. The positive side to this, if CAS was to drop 50-something to 70-something%, as we've seen before, it wouldn't take much time, right? It would take anywhere from like a month to 2 months, likely like a month and a half to 2 months, something like that, in that time range. So that's really not too long at all. If we were to drop right now from the top to where that low would come in, that would be by the end of the year that we find that low. And again, it might be a lower low than this, but all in all, it'll be a higher low in this trend. But this little double top area does not look too friendly to me. I want to go on CAS USDT on KuCoin. Right? It's not on Binance yet. It's not on Coinbase yet. It's not on Kraken yet. And this was something that Jojo was mentioning in the Discord, which is that what happens when exchanges buy them, want to list them. What happens whenever they want to list them? Well, generally speaking, when an exchange lists a coin, that's not good for it. Generally, not always, but sometimes you can have a pump the day that it's presented, even the first few weeks that it's presented, listed, you can have pumps. But ultimately, whenever you get an exchange listing, give it a month or two, you are near the top, if not to the day at the top. A perfect example of this is Pepe. We go to Pepe USD here on, what is it? Not Kraken. Let's do KuCoin. Is it KuCoin? Maybe it's Poloniex. No, I think it's Poloniex. Pepe USD on Poloniex. Where are you, Poloniex? There we go. It's one of the older Pepe charts, okay? We're going to go back to CAS in a second. I just want to make a point. One of the older Pepe charts. Look at this topping date right here, right? Keep this in mind. This is on the daily. This is Friday the 5th of May, 2023. So May 5th, 2023, that was the top, the all-time high for Pepe. What else was that day? If we go to Pepe USDT on Binance, you can see that May 5th was the first day that it was listed. First day. And it was the all-time high. So it did have a pump that day. It did move up 82% that day. But from there, it's been despair. It's just been straight down. Not straight down, but it's been going down. So what I'm trying to say, and the days leading up to that were phenomenal for Pepe. It did a 10x or more than that in a very short amount of time. How much, if we take, I guess this low here, that's like a 27x, man. And truthfully, from here, it's like a 22x in like a week's time. It did very spectacular things. This was all, I would bet money on either the news or the very real fact that Binance was accumulating down here. There's no more left to buy, so it just went up from there. Kaspa, CAS USDT on KuCoin, the fact that it's not listed on Binance or Coinbase or Kraken right now, to my knowledge, right? CAS, I want to just make sure. USD, I don't see it. KuCoin is the biggest exchange it's listed on. So KNC, is that Kyber Network though? Yeah, that's different, I think. It does have a lot of potential in that regard. If bigger exchanges want to scoop it up, that will skyrocket the price, and that could save you from this tremendously negative looking double top that you're forming right now. And crypto does psych people out, you guys. So again, at the moment, I kind of would expect that you go lower than this low, but I don't think it's going to be detrimental to CAS. But you have the potential to not go lower than that low. You have the potential to still hold that low. I don't think that that's the likelihood, but if you have bigger exchanges buying who are planning on listing this thing in the months to come, that could be enough to send you upwards. But there's not a lot of volume on KuCoin. Now, exchanges themselves, they're probably not going to buy their coins from another exchange, right? It's going to be OTC, so this volume could be lying to us to a certain degree. If we look at Kaspa, let's see if we can find the volume. 24-hour volume is pretty low for this thing, right? $10 million on a $1 billion asset. You'd want to see something that's like probably around 100 million. I think 10% of the market cap is ideal. I think at least 8% or something like that is what they say. I forget what the rule of thumb is, but 10% is nice to see. To be fair, this is only 24 hours. I can't do anything that's like extended volume based on this thing, but let's see. If in the last 24 hours we've seen 10% of this thing's market cap in volume, these are not even 10%, it's about 1%, right? About 1% of its market cap in volume. These days, which weren't even twice as big, probably saw less than that as well. So, I mean, this is just on KuCoin where this is like the total volume. So, I mean, who really knows? And again, if there were exchanges buying, I'm sure they're not buying it from KuCoin. They're probably buying it OTC or other ways. I mean, maybe they are buying some from KuCoin even, but I don't handle that stuff, so I'm not going to pretend to know how all that works. But if it does get listed on another exchange, that could be very beneficial for it and prevent it from going lower. But with that in mind, dropping from this high to 74, 72% down, it might look bearish on this chart, right? But if we go back to the USD chart on the crypto here, something like that from top down to 70, 74, 72, something like that. Let's do 73 right in the middle. A drop like that is something we've seen before and recovered phenomenally. Something that we've seen before and recovered phenomenally. Something we've seen before, like each time we have done well with that. And that still would be a higher low overall. So, great potential to buy down here. At that rate, a 70-something% drop in price would lead us to a $300 million market cap. With that, I would say that this thing becomes 100xable. At its current price, at 5 cents, I don't think that Kaspa is 100xable. Personally, it's a very new coin. I don't think it deserves a $100 billion market cap. But if it does have a significant drop, this coin could be in line for a 100x. I think it could have tens of billions. If it's been working its way throughout this whole bear market and rocking a $1 billion market cap right now that it fought tooth and nail to get, whenever things are really cooking in the bull market, I could see this thing getting, a 10x growth from here, a 30x, a 50x growth from here. I wouldn't say no problem, but it has a solid chance to do that. A 100x growth from the current price, it's not impossible. I don't think that's likely. I do think you can score a 100x off this thing. Again, I'm trying not to be too confusing. I think you can if you buy lower. If you were to buy lower, I don't know what the minimum price would be to get a 100x, but let's just let's say, like most cryptos, it probably doesn't go above 80 billion. So really, if you went down to like an $800 million market cap, there you go. That would be about a 20% drop from here. You have 100x potential. And 80 billion is still a lot. So the lower that goes, the more that 100x potential gets secured or becomes more possible. You know what I mean? So if we were to drop 70% from here, you're rocking a market cap of about $300 million. Your 100x potential is very much there because a $30 billion market cap is more than achievable for something that's had this kind of run, man. The last time that I saw a coin that ran like this during the bull market or during the bear market, because this was firmly in the bear market, man. I started doing this. Last time I saw something like this, just something right off the top of my mind is KuCoin not KuCoin. I'm drawing a blank. What is it? Chainlink, man. BNB. Coins that while we were in the bear market, firmly entrenched in the bear market, they were doing opposite things, man. They didn't have a bear market. They just kept going up. Or like while everything was chilling, they kept going up. So, and those are very like top tier coins, BNB and Link are. So this has that kind of vibe to it, in my opinion. I do expect great things for CAS. I just think right now it's probably going to go down. Looking at the daily as well, you do have bearish divergence on the daily. You have, getting back to the TA, not talking so much. You have a high here. It's a higher high with a lower high here. And then now you have a lower high here. This is bearish convergence off your bearish divergence, resisting, potentially rejecting the overbought zone, and then coming down from there. I do think, this is a very strong looking RSI. You've definitely shown strength, but it might be time to take a break. I very much would expect that you go below these lows at least. And just to be blunt, I would say you're very lucky, very, very lucky and bullish if you can hold these lows. If you hold these lows down here and you break up above this thing, man, this thing might just go to $100 billion as far as the market cap goes. I mean, maybe not, but like that would be insane. That would be very much insane in my opinion, because looking at this thing on the weekly, it does, to me, it looks like it wants to roll over. You can see it, right? I'm going to take the magnet off so that I can hopefully draw this without messing it up. But you can see how it like is curving, right? It's got this like curve to it. Generally, when you see stuff like this, it does have some kind of bed shitting that takes place, and then from there it goes up. It's not. I don't think that it's going to enter a straight free fall. But I do think that we might come down to areas where we can find more interest in buying. And this is where the KuCoin chart might come in handy. I mean, I really wish, man, I had a chart that had more historical data than this. I can't find it. Let me see. Something with volume too. MEXC, maybe? Okay, MEXC. There we go. I've never really heard of this thing until today, until someone else was talking about it. But here it is. We got some volume on it, and it's got a lot of historical data. So right here, if we were to take because I don't think we'd go below this low. So if we were, whatever. Let's go from the top there to here. You can see that there is a very solid amount of volume that was traded at this level, at the 2.7 cent level, which again I think is a fib if I'm not mistaken. No, it's not. Or it's kind of near that 0.5. Maybe I am mistaken. Maybe it's an extension. Or is it not? It's in between the 1272. It's really close to the 1414. So it's in this area. Coming below this line is completely possible. It's fine if we do that. How you kind of use this tool, to my knowledge, what you do is obviously you look for the line that has the most volume as an area of support, but you also look for these areas that are lacking volume, where there was very little time for the market participants to agree or to put weight on that price. So generally, we go, if we break through this heavy kind of area of volume, we'll go to the place that has low volume, which would be down here all the way at about, below 2 cents, maybe right at like 1.9 cents to 1.67 cents, something like that. And that area might be, in this area is actually like at the very top of it, would be right where the sweet spot is, the bottom of the sweet spot. It might even go down, somewhere around the 786. That's possible too. I want to take this thing out real quick and just see, and this is how I was taught. There's probably other things to this tool that I'm just not aware of, but that's kind of how I was taught to look at it. If you look down here, man, I feel like this right here, you can see this little like gap in volume right there at that 1.8. Something like that would make sense to me. And that is right there in that sweet spot, man. It really is right there. With this kind of look too, some of you might see this and be like, well, could you go down there? You could. It is possible you could do that. That wouldn't be good for Kaspa. That would be one of the biggest drops that it's ever had. But I don't know, I don't know so much if we're going to go down there. That's not my perspective. So, I think we actually did come down here and tipped it. We tipped this zone as support already, so I think the next zone to kind of test would be this area up here. Below this low, above this low, that's what I think ultimately for Kaspa. I think I've said my piece. Bearish divergence on the weekly, bearish divergence on the daily. 4-hour RSI. I mean, the daily and the 4-hour, man, they do look strong, to be fair, but I am expecting downside. So where's it going to go? Somewhere, I would think, between about 1.8 cents to maybe, what was it? 3.2 cents or 2. What was it? 3.9 to 3.7. Look for support there first, but I doubt you do. And likely what you would see is something in between 1.8 cents to 2.8 cents, somewhere in that range. Something like that would make sense. This 1618 might be support, but again, there is that like lacking in volume somewhere around that like 1.8 cent area. So that's all I got for you guys. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more. I appreciate everybody that likes and subscribes and just watches. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for coming, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.